Welcome to Remembering Your Oneness with Zane Daniel and Monica Kupiec, where we know everything, and so do you.
Aloha.
All right. Hello. It's been weeks since we were last doing this. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back as well. And we are synchronized in our clothes. So it's clearly a sign that, we just had to take a break for a little bit.
That's right. Yep. And we almost had to take a break today, but we found a way to make it work. That's why we're on 15 minutes early. So if anybody was like, what the hell? What? This doesn't usually start now. Now you understand. And we would love it that we've got a few viewers right now. So please say hello and introduce yourself, where you're from. And the subject of today's talk is, who am I? So we're going to continuously ask everyone, who are you? And then we'll dive into what that means to, us as spiritual beings.
So where are you, Zane, in the world? I know you're always traveling.
We are in Jacksonville, Florida now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because things just kept getting colder and colder in the north. So we kept going further and further south. And it's still a little cool compared to where we want to be, right? Like we are kind of like, we're going to, this weekend, and we're going to go further south. We're going to go to, I think it's Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Mm.
So
I don't know too much about Florida. I've just been on my rock for some time now.
So either Sybil gave us an incomplete thought, or it's something for us to fill in. But Sybil says that she said, I am a... Oh, there we go. A child of God, a mother. And then she apologized for her staccato information. But yes, okay, good. I love that. She is.
I feel like the first part is definitely, it hits it. I am that's it. It's
right.
That's all it is.
Exactly. Insert whatever you want to insert there. Yeah, I agree.
Well, it's not even like you don't even have to insert anything.
Yeah, I am. Period. Okay. So thank you, Sybil. That's pretty amazing. And we want to hear from other people. There's plenty of others watching. So tell us, who are you? Because that's the topic of today's podcast. Who are you? We want to know.
Maybe they want to know who we are.
Okay. That's what I was thinking too, is if nobody says anything, then Monica, you're going to start us off.
I'm going to start.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Jaybird is a van wife. We talked about not a housewife, but a van wife. That's right.
Well, I feel like there's like two forms of this, like, I guess, question you can say is, who am I as this body? And then who am I as a being? So I guess in this human form, I am an artist. And as a spiritual being, I am, a frequency, a light, a love. So that is the two parts of the question I think you can put. But also, it's also that confidence of like knowing that you are this, and knowing that you are also more than this human body or these titles that we give to each other. So that's more of my definition of who am I, but it's also, it could be turned to what am I? And then that's where that what comes to as a light or a being of God, or just that, frequency of love, I like to call it.
Awesome. Okay. Mandy is a light warrior. And I agree. She is. Who else? What do we else? Okay, here we go. We have Carrie. She says, I am a light sprite and unique person. I like that. Yeah, we are amazingly unique. We are all the snowflake, the different snowflakes. But we're so much more than that. We're all of it. Okay, so if we were to talk about what, if it's me, you're asking me, what am I? Who am I? I am everything. I am all of you. I am all of the planets. I'm all of the stars. I am all of the the black holes, the nebulas, the different dimensions. I am all of the spirit guides. I am all of the ascended masters. I am the creator. I am all of it. And anyone can say that. Anyone can say all that I just said. I am all things. And that's what we all are. And that's why the name of our podcast is Remembering Our Oneness, remembering that we are all source, as Mandy says.
I like Mandy.
So this topic for today came because I was doing I do a weekly Monday meditation, and there's a different kind of guided meditation topic, and this week's was Who Am I? And as we dove in, sometimes I don't really think a lot about what the meditation is going to be about, other than just the title, and then I just let it flow. Oh, and I like this one from Jaybird. I am the all. And then this one from Sybil. I am consciousness. Absolutely. And so when I was doing this guided meditation, which you can check out on my YouTube channel, it was about part of the way through, I realized, or it was explained to me or whatever, that we are the observer of our lives. Our thoughts come from these brains, and these brains are just they're organs in our bodies that are just there to produce thoughts. So we ask ourselves, are we our brains? And I'm sure we can get lots of people to respond to this. And I think most people would say, no, we're not our brains. Our brains are an aspect of us, but we are not our brains. There's many in science who definitely believe that we are our brains, and that these bodies are just brain carrying robots so that we can observe things and interact with the world. The problem with that is that we're totally missing out on, even from a scientific perspective, there's brain cells in our heart and in our gut. So the brain is not the only place where thoughts come from. But even more than that, from a physiological, biological standpoint, when we really search for who am I, we first go through the brain thing like I just did, but then we go, well, wait a minute. There's something that's observing my thoughts. There's not just the brain itself, but there's an observer of my thoughts. And that observer is the same observer that is observing our creation. If we are source, we are the creator. We have created everything that exists, and then we watch it. We observe what happens. So the observer in the self that observes our brain and our physical experiences is the same observer as the observer that created the world and the universe and everything, and that just wants to observe their creation. And by there, I mean our, because we are the creator, and we just want to see what it's all about. So there's so many different ways that we can observe our creation. And one of them is to become one of the creations, or believe that we are just one of the creations, and see it from the inside and go, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I could die, and I've got to take this seriously and that seriously. And that is the human experience.
So then how do you practice observing your thoughts and such? Do you observe it more when you're in a flight or fight mode in a way, or do you observe them frequently, like when you're out shopping or when you're out talking with other people? Do you practice it regularly, or is it more of like, oh, I'll observe my day at the end of the day or so?
Yeah, that's great. And like, you can do it at any time. It is very possible to do it anywhere at any moment. And sometimes it is in the fight or flight. You're just like, oh, look at me. I'm in a panic. Or look at me, I'm angry. Or look at me, I'm upset about this. It's so interesting being upset. And as soon as you do that, you generally drop the intensity of the experience, because now you're just looking at yourself. But yeah, I mean, I mostly do it throughout the day. I do it especially during meditation. And And it's so amazing to do it when you're experiencing an extreme emotion, because like I
Mhm.
said, it just drops the intensity of that emotion. So in many cases I'm doing that. How about you?
Yeah, I do it, like, now or do it all the time. It's, like, almost like a second-hand thing that happens, or it's like a second sense. What is that saying called? That you just do it I just do it automatically, and it's like a part of me
Yeah.
now that I'm observing, or I like find myself like just be like, "Oh wait, I'm not really like I am present, but it's like an observing type of presence. It's like I'm not really sucked into this emotion or sucked into that experience. It's more so I'm observing like, okay, now I'm like feeling upset. Well, where do I feel this upset in my body? Like where is it really coming from? And it's usually just in my head. Like my heart center feels fine, or like my stomach feels okay, and it's really just like I'm kind of like making it up, but I'm not really making it up at the same time.
Right.
So it's just more so of like really being, I guess, like I call it like hyper consciously aware during during your day. That's kind of like what observation is, because you're really being aware of your thoughts and seeing if they serve you, and then you're able to dictate the rest of your actions. Is like, okay, these thoughts aren't serving me, so let's not like dive into this. Or someone is starting to irritate me, let's like try to regroup to why this irritation is coming from. Is it coming from a past memory of this person, or is it from someone else that I experienced the same thing with? And then it helps me to just like react more consciously. It's like, okay, I reacted this way in the past, so let me try a different way and see what happens. Or let me try to talk a little bit more calmly and not react, and then see how this conversation will steer or how this situation will pan out. And usually it's for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's sometimes where I get a little cocky too, like where I'm in this situation that would normally be something that would upset me or worry me, or someone's insulting me or doing something bad, and then I go, wait a minute, I am just the creator observing this experience right now. This
Mhm.
is silliness. This is just like this or I say, well, this is amazing that I'm experiencing this,
Yeah.
and this person is insulting me. Wow, that's really crazy and cool. Like, oh, what else you got to say? Can you insult me some more? I want to hear some other stuff.
Yeah.
Because when you put yourself in the position of the source creator, then all of this stuff is just this crazy fascination and amazing possibilities. So why wouldn't you just go ahead and slip into that position, and then none of it really has the same impact, or the impact is, wow, like what a crazy experience, what an amazing life this is that I get to experience.
Yeah. Well, sometimes like some people just don't know that they can observe their thoughts and like rewire basically their thinking. So, I mean, sure, when I was growing up, I didn't know about that until I started diving into like spiritual books and then becoming even more curious. I think my curiosity is what drives me to become more self aware, or to observe my thoughts even more, is to understand the why or the reasoning, kind of like the whole "who am I" topic. It's like, well, who am I really? Am I really just this body, or am I so much more than that? And like if I didn't have that curiosity for that, I would have never gone down this, like it's been like 15 years I think with my spirituality. I probably would have not been at
Mhm.
this point in time of being so aware of observing my thoughts. It's because like I'm so interested in it, and that's why I continue to do it. But if someone doesn't have that interest level for it, you're not gonna continue it.
Right.
It's just gonna be like, "Oh, that's cool, you could observe your thoughts," but if you're not gonna practice it or keep up that consistency of it, you're never gonna reach to that level of like, "Oh, I know who I am right now. It's not this form, it's actually everything," like how you said before. It's this, I am this flower, I am this sunshine. I'm creating this storm right now because that's being aligned with me. So it's just more so like, how passionate are you to bettering yourself? I think that's kind of the question of like, who am I? It's like, how much do you truly love yourself to figure out your core essence?
Right. Yeah, and so somebody else says, it's not cocky, it's honesty. And what I was talking about, I think, is this, I almost have this cockiness. I think of it like when I work with people with negative entity attachments, and they're really suffering, and they're really want this to be gone. And
Yeah.
what I often say is, like, if an entity ever decided to try to get into my field, I would look at it like, oh, really? You're really going to try this? This is amazing. Like, okay, good luck, because you got no chance, buddy. Like, you
Yeah.
are barking up the wrong tree with this. And then I'm almost like taunting, and I'm like, oh yeah, just let's come on, let's see what we can do. And that sort of cocky approach means that they're never going to bother me, because I
Mm.
know that I'm of a high enough vibration that they're not really going to be able to get their hooks into me. I know that they don't have a chance. And in that knowing, then it's entertaining. Like, it's like watching somebody who thinks they're so clever and is going to use all kinds of strategies and tricks. And you're just like, yeah, right. Like, so that's where I'm talking about that cockiness comes from. And so then the cockiness can come in when someone's insulting you, and you almost want to start laughing, because you know what they're trying to do is they're really trying to control and manipulate and make you feel bad. And when it doesn't work, then you're almost like, hee hee, good try. That's hilarious. Keep going, and that's so, that's what I would call as cocky. That can really make them mad right at that moment. But that's when you're in power. That's when nothing's going to bother you, because it doesn't matter what someone says. You're just watching your favorite TV show. It's not actually affecting you. And that's beautiful. That's powerful.
Yeah. Well, even with the whole cocky concept, it's like any affirmation or like manifestation could be a sense of like, oh, I'm just being cocky right now with this like phrase. Or at least it could seem like that to someone on the outside that has no idea what affirmations like do to you. But it's really just like you're working on your self-worth and your confidence when you're saying these phrases per se. So it's like you're being honest with yourself, and it's not being cocky, because cocky
Right.
is like is putting a judgment onto what you believe is your truth. It's like that separation of like, oh wait, like I don't deserve this. That's why it feels like I'm being cocky right now. But like if you know your worth and you know where you stand, it's like you're just being honest with yourself that yeah, I will reach that, or am worthy to feel this or get this type of
Right.
manifestation or affirmation that I'm attaining. But like they're just trying to raise your vibration when you're repeating these phrases. And if they don't serve you in the moment, like obviously it won't happen, but in time it will kind of manifest itself to that level that you're reaching of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I like this, that somebody said you hit the nail on the head. You often do, but I wonder what they were referring to specifically. I would like to know.
Well, thank you for that compliment.
Oh, absolutely. It's true though. Like, I mean, that's why we're a good team. Like, we say things differently, but we both have great insight for people. So I totally respect your opinion on all this stuff, and it's always fun because your approach is a little bit more personal, and I like your personal stories, that you add a lot to all of our topics from that perspective.
Thank you.
Look at all this. Yeah, it's just
You're making
gushing.
me all blushy.
Gushing and blushing. That's great. So yeah, the reason that it says Facebook user instead of the name is because you're probably looking at it from eliminating negative entities, which is a different group. And from that group, you have to click on this thing at the top that says, in order for your name to appear, you have to register blah blah blah. So if you want your name to appear, you can do that, or you can switch over to watching it on YouTube, or watching it on my Facebook page, or the Cosmic Facebook page, or on and on. So if you're seeing that, that's why.
Yeah, and then part of the whole concept of, like, who am I is I just got a new phone, like, 2 days ago, and I decided to not, like, sync my past iPhone with the new one. I, like,
Oh,
wanted to, like, completely
start
restart it
fresh.
and,
Yeah.
like, actually see what apps are serving me and which ones aren't, and, like, I've definitely, like, not downloaded some social media platforms yet or just be like, "Okay, well, I don't really like, this doesn't really benefit me
Yeah.
authentically." And it's almost like a relief, like, "Okay, I'm not getting as many notifications." I also even switched, like you know how, like, in your mail, like, you have thousands unread and, like, you have that red number that tell counts all your numbers? Well, I actually put that into, like, my second screen, and I didn't realize how much anxiety it was kinda giving me when I would always,
Uh,
like, open my phone and see, like, that many unread messages. So now, like, on my main screen, I just have, like, my essentials of, like, my notes and, like, reminders and my camera, and then a picture of my cat. And I'm just like, I feel so much calmer when I open my phone. And I feel like that's also, like, a start that someone can do to observe your thoughts or observe your being is, like, what you have on your phone, is it really serving you, or is it constantly helping you to disconnect from your true self? Like, why do you have these social media platforms too? I think I might even get rid of or stop being on, like, Facebook or, like, my Facebook groups and just, like, fully just be on just, like, YouTube and, like, my Instagram that I have and just, like, put more energy into that because I feel like it's just so much that I keep checking and it's like, why am I really checking these platforms? It's like, am I really, like, benefiting myself in it? And I don't think it is. So it's been, like, interesting the last, like, 2 days of, like, downloading things, undownloading, and just really that power of observation of how do I really feel when I have my phone around me? Like, this is the closest thing that I physically have with me at all times, and if it's not serving me authentically, like, what's really the whole point of having it?
right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great discovery because you understand what's going on for you. Now, that might not bother someone else, but something
Mhm.
similar might. And so just by opening yourself up to what's going on when you do this. Like for the longest time, I used to have nervousness when I brushed my teeth at night, and
Oh.
it was just weird. It just seemed associated with that, and unfortunately, I never really did figure out why that was. Eventually, it just faded. But it could have been something that I could go, oh, why? Because of this particular situation, that's why. And then I just make a slight adjustment to it, and then it wouldn't happen
Mhm.
anymore. I'm sure that would have been possible.
That's
So yeah,
interesting.
so it looks
It's
like
like
we've got
you're
a
in a
few.
rush it's like you're in a rush to do something or you feel guilty for brushing your teeth. I don't know, it's very
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah, it's weird, right? Yeah, I don't know,
I
but
mean,
we got
sometimes
a couple.
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to interrupt you. We've got a couple of new folks, so what we're asking everyone is, who are you? Please tell us who you are, and that could be anything. And we're very interested and open to knowing who you think you are or who you truly are. Anyway, what were you going to say, Monica?
What was I gonna say? Oh,
You forgot.
well, I'm just saying that sometimes I have a rush with, like, brushing my teeth too. It's like, "Oh, I gotta get this thing over with because I gotta go and, like, go do something else." But I feel like brushing your teeth is also, like, a self-love action. It's like, "Okay, let's brush our teeth and, like, really, like, make this, like, you know, more pleasant." I have one of those, like, the electrical toothbrushes, and it has, like, a meter of, like, 4 settings where it tells you how long to stay in, like, one side of your mouth, and then it tells you to switch and switch.
Oh,
And at first when I got it, I was like, "Wow, this is so cool," but now it's just like, "Okay, like, let's get this over with, like, I just wanna finish." But it's that same concept of like, "Okay, let's enjoy this present moment of, like, being with my body and being with my teeth right now." And, like, I can observe my thoughts as like, why do I wanna rush? Like, why am I so anxious to get somewhere else?"
that's awesome.
Mhm.
That's great. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure I don't do that right. I'm sure I don't. I don't spend enough time on each side of my mouth. Oh well. Uh, at least I floss. That's really important. Um, all right, now we're talking about toothbrushing. This
Toothbrushes
is
that make
great.
you
Lola wants to do music as you brush. Is that like a toothbrush that goes deedling 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 deedly 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 dee 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 dee, and as soon as you stop, and then diddle diddle diddle. I don't know. That's what I imagine that Mandy means. We'll find out maybe as she explains it.
They might be
Yeah,
made for kids.
yeah, they might be. It sounds like they are. Yeah, it is like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. What is this? See, Daniel's #1 fan. Who is this? That's
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. I can't believe somebody would do that. But hi. It's great to see you too.
I'm surprised it's not a photo of you.
I know. Yeah, yeah. It is actually like the person.
Is that your
maybe.
old, younger self, teenage self?
Right. Oh, right. Yes. Jay Bird is talking about that I brush my teeth very quietly. I have a strange thing. All right. Oh, well, I'm going to interrupt this because this is more important. Tina Thien, which is kind of a cool name, and I wanted to say Tina Thina, but Tina Thien says that she's a lover. Absolutely. We all are. We are unconditional lovers, whether we know it or not. That's exactly what we are. It's beautiful. Okay, stupid teeth brushing thing. Okay, you know the fingernails down a chalkboard deal that some people experience?
The what? Sorry, say that again?
Would you put fingernails down a chalkboard and you have the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
chills
yeah,
on
yeah.
your back, whatever. When I see other people brushing their teeth, that's what happens to me. So anytime there's somebody on TV, like a commercial, and they're like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, get. So it's super strange. And yeah, and it for some reason, I mean, I can even do it to myself just by imagining someone else making the sound of brushing their teeth. So that's why I'm a completely silent teeth brusher. So there you go. That's my story.
I feel like there's some trauma that we need to get past this brush thing. I think we need to have a session here with clearing that from you.
Well, I think Jay Bird just summed it up perfectly in that I'm a very strange person.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I love all these fun facts because your #1 fan is definitely going to be taking note of that. That you
Right.
don't like the sound of or sight of people brushing their teeth.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out who this is. Like that face looks slightly familiar, but I don't know. That's great.
Maybe for one of the next shows, I'll surprise everyone and just start brushing my teeth in the middle of the show.
Right.
See how you react.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll instantly mute and turn away and look. Like, okay, I'll just assume that you're done in a certain amount of time and take a look and see if it's true.
We'll start the show, be like, "Oh, I forgot to brush my teeth," and just whip out my toothbrush.
Yeah, this is what you'll see. This is what you'll see.
Oh. You're gonna exit the room. It's okay.
No.
So
it's also one of those things that is great because it's an opportunity for me to experience discomfort. So when I choose to, I can go ahead and watch someone brush their teeth and have the experience and feel it fully and not run from it or whatever. And there's growth opportunity potential from that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Hi, Valentina. Okay. So you must be just joining us. Our topic for today is who am I? So Valentina and anybody else who's just joined us, tell us who you are. Who are you? It can be anything. It could be everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you about to say something, Monica?
No, I think I just wanted to just laugh about. I was just laughing at your toothbrush thing. I just that's all. But
Jay Bird's on Facebook and Valentina is on YouTube. Valentina wouldn't see Jay Bird's message to her unless we put it on our screen here. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that just I think I told you before the show, but I've been doing a thing where I'm painting the energy of the day for 30 days and I'm on day 14. And this past week, just because we always love to synchronize everything, was actually about I write like an affirmation with each wave. And the affirmation was, I know exactly who I am. And it's like I love how we always synchronize like your YouTube and like usually something that I'm painting or something that I'm doing or thinking. Like it
Yeah.
like lines up and it's like pretty cool. And like I feel
Yeah.
like the whole who am I? It's like you're just working with that like third chakra or just like your confidence. And today too, when I was painting the energy of on the beach, it was just all about like I express my confidence authentically. And I feel like when you express yourself authentically, that's when you can also understand who you are. So
Look at that.
that's my little Jaybird. Aw. She's saying yes, and it's amazing. I love seeing the paintings, Monica. I look forward to them each day. Oh,
It's awesome.
I'm getting that type of response too on my Instagram. Like people are just like people that don't even interact with me or like like icons that I have never seen are like, "Oh, this is so cool." Or like I love seeing it every day. So maybe I'll continue it after the 30 days just to see how else it goes. But it's really cool seeing them all next to each other how it like you can really feel that the day is shifting or the energy is shifting. And it's almost like a buildup from each one is what I'm seeing the difference in. It's like now it's like I really know who I am. Like we just started that like 2 days ago, and then today's like, yeah, the confidence is skyrocketing. I feel
Nice.
amazing. So
That's awesome.
I hope people
Okay.
are feeling that too.
So she wants the link. You want to give it to me and I'll send it out to everyone?
So my Instagram is so Instagram.com/island awakening.
There we go. Sending
And
it out to
then
everybody.
I guess if you want to be friends on my Facebook, I put it on that too. So I think my Facebook name is just Monica Kupik. You can add me and then it pops up there. But I feel
Cool.
like I show more of my art through my Instagram.
Nice.
So there's that.
And based on this comment right here, I think I know who Zane Daniels' #1 fan is. I think it's Brandon Thomas. Let's see if I'm right. He's my so in the new Cosmic TV, Brandon Thomas is working with me, and he's kind of my partner in crime on the finding content providers. So I'm guessing that that's him.
You might be projecting.
Yeah, projecting the "you are savage." You're a true savage. Yeah. So we'll see if I get it right. Yay! See, yeah, you've got. Oh, okay. So she's probably making a note to herself, right? Oh, I got to remember. Tina Thien says, got to remember to check out Monica's art, as you should do, Tina. So, okay. So I haven't seen any new Who Am I's. I want to know, who does Valentina think she is? I want to know who Zane Daniels' #1 fan thinks he is. Let's hear it. And how do you find out who you truly are? What's the process? How do you know? Great.
Jaybird, he's just being authentic with himself. This is
well, she's explained to me over and over again that dorky does not mean that it's bad, that it's actually a good thing, right? Yeah. See, you didn't know either, right? And I'm like, really? Are you sure that this is a good thing? Like, I don't know. It feels a little bit like you're insulting me and then pretending like it was okay.
I do have to say that it is a quality that is cute in people. Like it's like, oh, like you're just being you. Like that's how I define dorkiness. It's like you're being exactly you, and this is attractive. So that's just how I guess defined it in the context. But dorky could also be like nerdy, maybe, but you're definitely not being nerdy right now. So um maybe in the beginning of the show you're kind of nerdy where you're just like spitting out you're spitting out all of these like facts. But that's just like again it's just you, it's just you being you.
Great. I feel so much better. Great. Yeah. See, Jaybird agrees with you.
I mean, we're not ganging up on you. We're just saying like you're being authentically you, and then there's other words that can describe being authentic. Which could be dorky, which could be nerdy. But again, society has just put those things as negative, and they're not really negative. They're just other ways of saying authentic. I hope other people can agree.
I don't know if you
I
can
can
hear her,
hear
but
her
she's in
laughing.
the
I
other
just heard
room laughing hysterically at this right now.
Oh, I hope other people
This is-
heard that because I definitely heard her laugh.
This is great. This is really good.
I'm even
So
like
glad.
tearing up over here with this laughter. It's when you know it's a good laugh. It's a good, authentic laugh.
Yeah, it is. Yep. All right.
Like, let's get
All
this
right.
over with.
Saved by Valentina. Okay. Valentina, a dancer and creative woman. Yes, you are. You are. And see, that's what's great about those two things too, is that you can be your creative self on the dance floor. You can be your creative self in the way that you talk, in the way that you think, in the way that you solve problems. Creativity is everywhere. And it's beautiful because it's absolutely true. You are creating all the time, you're creating constantly. And so you might as well embrace that and say, hey, I am a creative creator. Sounds like redundancy, but it's not. Because you could be a uninspired creator, and then you're creating blah. But being a creative creator,
I mean, also when you're creating blah is also still a form of art because someone else might resonate with it. Or, as an artist, like, or anyone as an artist, like, you kind of just spill out what you feel in the moment. And even if you feel it's blah or shitty, like someone else is gonna be like, whoa, that's so cool. I've definitely had that too, where I've made pieces and I'm like, oh, I don't really like it, it's whatever. And then someone else is like raging over it and wants to buy it. I'm like, really? Like, are you sure about that?
right? That's
But
awesome.
it's always just like we put like this inner judgment of like I guess like who we are, what we're supposed to be, or what something is supposed to turn out. But it's just that inner like acceptance is like I just created something out of nothing, and it's my vibration that I'm putting out into the world, and it's gonna start attracting people in a way. And when I put judgment into it, it's gonna block that flow or block that energy flow, and it's only going to diminish my own like self-worth and my own confidence, and then I'm not going to understand who I am. That like distortion or that confusion is just going to come out. But when you say these things like I am a creator, I am a dancer, like that's just you owning who you are in this form or in this current form. Obviously we all know that we're everything, but if you want to like talk to another human, well, someone might think that you're like psycho and crazy, but if you tell them like, oh, I'm an energy artist, they're like, oh, let me know more, tell me more, versus like, oh, I am everything, and they're gonna be like, who is this like hippie, or who is this
crazy person?
And it's like, yeah, but let me put this into context that you will understand. And even with this whole energy art stuff, it's just like, how do I even simplify it? That I'm actually just, tuning into the energy and I'm creating something. And someone might resonate with that, be like, oh yeah, I understand that. Or like, yeah, I can feel that too. So I think all of these I ams and these statement afters, I think it's just like a way of simplifying the category of like who you can reach out to or who you can then inspire or what interest is going to then tap into your frequency or your frequency of love to continue that like reciprocating factor of awakening someone. Because I always love watching people performing their passion because it then like vamps me up or it like energizes me to do what I love to do or helps me remember the truth within me when I see someone surfing, and then I'm like, wow, like I want to go create something now because I saw someone do something so impossible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. To be inspired. So one of the things that I talk about some in one of my classes is the whole I am thing. And
Mhm.
one of the things about the way that we speak, and in English especially, and all the Germanic languages, English is a Germanic language, we don't say that we have thirst or that we are experiencing the feeling of thirst. We say that we are thirst. I am
Mhm.
thirsty. I am hungry. And it's kind of wacky because it's not like we are embodying the experience of hunger. We're just
Mhm.
temporarily experiencing hunger. But it goes so far, we say I am unemployed, which means that I am embodying unemployment. It has
Mhm.
this feeling of permanence to it. And that's one of the areas that our language kind of backfires on us. But if we were to say, I am a multidimensional being, I am a human, I am love, I am, but here's where we can use it to our advantage. I am creative. So now we are saying that we embody creativity, which is actually
Mhm.
really powerful. So just being aware of how you use the language that you use, it really dictates how you think of yourself, and how you think of everything, the world, and what's wrong and what's right and all that jazz. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was this week where I finally like I'm stepping up like, oh, I'm an energy artist. Like this is what I do. It's not just art that I create. And it's definitely empowered me of like my confidence with my work. It's like, yeah, like this is me. Like there's no way of like turning it around or like going around it. It's like this is what I create. And like I feel like sometimes I step away from it because it's just like, oh, like people aren't going to understand it, but I understand it, and this is me, and I feel like that's all I need is to get me to keep going. Because it's like I always feel like, as like growing up like in Chicago, like, you go to school and everybody's always telling you like, oh, you need to go get a degree, have kids, blah blah blah, get married, and I'm just like, No, I don't want to. Like this doesn't feel right for me." And it's like just standing that ground of like, well, what is it that you want or what is it that you are? It's like you're really just learning to become yourself or to become that oneness, and it might steer you off into different paths or these different I ams. Like I used to be a dancer. I used to associate myself like, oh, I'm a dancer, or I'm a volleyball player, or you
you're a
know,
surfer.
I'm a surfer, and then now it's like I'm a painter. And who knows what I'm gonna be like in 2 years, but right now I'm a painter and I'm embodying this form to create something that will then help me become even more aware of my oneness or become more aware of the next thing or the next chapter in my life. But it's just raising that vibration in the moment of being this I am thing.
Right. Yep. It's perfect. It's perfectly said, and Carrie's right too. I am loving. I am caring. I am um, happy. And instead of saying I'm pursuing happiness because it can't be pursued, you just
Mhm.
you decide whether you're happy or not. Essentially, happiness is a skill. It's not something to be pursued. So to be able to say I am happy, I am the embodiment of happiness, is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Hello, Jewel. Wow, this is cool. I haven't seen her in a long time. We were both in one of the Lightworker training programs pretty much at the same time. We've had a number of great folks stopping by, like Valentina is in my program right now. She's in one of the negative entity attachment programs, as well as Mandy. So it's really cool to have all these folks here visiting. And Jewel, what we're talking about, and I'd love to hear yours too, is who are you? Tell us who you are. What is it that you are, and how do you know what you are? Share that with us. um, so today, I don't know if this really has anything to do with this. I was reminded of it for some reason based on what you were saying just now, Monica. I was working with somebody in my one-on-one program, and he's doing really well, really happy with his progress. He used to be very afraid of negative entities, and now he's not being afraid of them at all. And so much so that now he's starting to discover his spiritual gifts. And over the
Mm.
last week, he had an opportunity to heal 3 different people. Somebody had some sort of back pain. So he asked the universe, would I have permission to heal her back pain? And he got a yes. And so he did, and she felt better. Then he had another person with a shoulder pain, same thing. He got a yes, and he did it, and they got better. Then on the third one, he asked, and he got a no.
Yeah.
So he didn't do it. And what's interesting about that is that, first of all, I like that he was asking, because in that situation, he is getting permission, which is always a good thing to get. But he's also getting whether it's going to work or not, because some people need to experience that pain and not be healed for some other reason. And so he received that, okay, you're not supposed to heal this person. Because what'll happen is, even if he hadn't checked and he tried to heal her knees, it was her knees that was the pain, it wouldn't have worked. Because if she needs to experience that, then her higher self is going to interfere with any healing work that comes through so that she can continue to feel it. When he got the no, he decided not to do it. And so then he was talking to me about it, and I said, well, here's another way to look at it. If you hadn't checked and you tried to do it and it didn't work, you might start to doubt your ability. So that information coming through before you did it was very helpful for you, because it didn't interfere with your own confidence. So it's just another really interesting thing, that I wanted to share with everybody. And Jewel, of course, says, I am source. Absolutely, Jewel. That is what we are. We are the creator. But how do we know? What's the knowing? Where does that knowing come from? Where you just absolutely know? I want to hear what she has to say about that.
I don't think we've ever talked about that, the knowing, or maybe we have.
Oh yeah, I talk about the knowing. I've talked about it for sure, but still, where do you get it from? Where's your knowing?
It's just a feeling. It's a feeling that I get, and that's what I follow. It's like that really beautiful, like, I guess it's like a euphoric sensation within my body. It's like, oh yeah, like I know. It's one of those type of feelings. And then sometimes I ignore it, and then sometimes, like you said, with the whole like saying no thing, or like hearing no, it's like maybe you're supposed to experience this sensation or this experience. I mean, for me, with my first injury that I had with my ankle, I had it for 3.5 years. No doctor could figure out what was wrong with it. And then I kind of just gave up after the first year and be like, okay, I'm going to try to figure this out on my own. And that's when I started to become more intuitive. I was really listening to my body, to when it felt good and when the pain started to become even more. And then eventually ayahuasca helped with it and took all of that pain out, because I was finally ready to let go of that old self and step into this new body and start this new journey with a stronger intuition, or with this new self per se, like remembering my oneness or my strength finally. But yeah, like I feel like even with the negative entity, like you're gonna have it until it's ready to get out. Like I guess that injury that I had is very relatable to having a negative entity with you, because it's a form of pain that is constantly with you and that you can't really control, because it's physically there. And a negative entity is basically like physically around, right? You would call it physically, or would you call it right? I guess it's not physical, it's more of like a sensation, but essentially it's kind of the same thing, because you can't really see pain, you can only feel pain, and you can only feel a negative entity, right?
Right. Yes. It's not physical. I mean, we like to use the word physical to represent also, what's the word I want to use here? It's proximity. When we feel it, we place it in a proximity. We say, oh, it's off of my right shoulder, or it's over there in the corner of the room, or it's, we like that. But that's just a perception that we've either received from the entity. The entity is trying to make us feel like it's in a space, or we're even making it up on our own, because there is no proximity required. The entity could be on Pluto and still affect us, because there is no such thing as that physical space
Mhm.
outside of this 3D/5D experience. So it gets hard to use
Define it.
that type
Yeah.
of terminology. But I always get a huge kick out of the people that say, okay, so what you want to do to keep entities out of your house is you want to put crystals in the, outside the front stoop, and then you want to put salt on the windows and the door frame and things like that. I always think that's the funniest thing. Like, oh, okay, yeah. So entities can't go through the wall, or they can't come down through the ceiling or up through the floor. Like, why do you
Yeah.
think that they've got to go through the window? They're like flying around the house, like, okay, oh, there's a window. Okay, let's go in. It doesn't make any sense, right? So,
Yeah.
but we like to think of it in those terms because that's what we've grown up believing. So it's going to be a factor, but it doesn't really need to be. All we have to know is that our energy is not just limited by our physical presence, but it
Mhm.
goes throughout all of existence at all times. That also adds to that feeling of power. Like, okay, so an entity is not really going to do anything to me because I
Mhm.
am the universe.
Mm. Or
And
I am
so,
the entity.
and I am the entity. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for saying that. That's beautiful. And then Jewel knows because she has the feeling of connection with all that is. That's great. It's hard for people who don't have that to understand what that means, though. That's always the challenge, is to
Mhm.
how do we bridge that gap for someone who's new to all this, who doesn't know exactly what the all that is experience is, and they have to experience it for themselves. So I have to try to get them a little bit closer by just saying, okay, well, you knew something about something in your life that hadn't happened yet, but you knew it was going to. Like, tap
Mhm.
into that feeling. What does that feeling feel like? Oh, I know that I'm going to get picked last in the sporting event. Where everybody's lined up, right, and they're picking teams. You knew you were going to get picked last. Well, where did that knowing come from? How did that feel? Maybe eventually you get really good at the sport, and then you go, well, I know I'm going to get picked first because
Yeah.
I know what that feels like. It's all very similar to all those knowings, but you get to apply it to this infinite possibility that is the fact that you are connected with all that is because you are all that is.
Mhm.
Then that whole being picked in a sports thing doesn't matter anymore. That was just a tiny little experience in this vast life that we have.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
had that same it was like that same concept of, like, any relationship that you're in, it's like, it's really just a tiny little moment in your whole vast form of consciousness, and it's like that was a really beautiful moment in your part, but you also had many other beautiful moments, and you're gonna have even more beautiful moments,
Yeah.
and it's just all part of the whole thing.
Yep. Absolutely. And Onion Man, he still wants to have his ayahuasca experience, and I still want him to too. I think it would be great. We all
I
know that.
Mm. Yeah. I did mine in Costa Rica. I highly recommend that one, but everyone finds I feel like you will find the one that you're meant to go to, but if you're
Yeah.
looking for a recommendation, I did one in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we are. Can you believe we're already at 53 minutes?
Yeah,
That
I
went.
remember looking at the clock at, like, 5 or 6, I was like, "Whoa, we still got a long way to go," and
Yeah, yeah. But
and then
now all of
be
a
done.
sudden, bang! It's pretty much over, and we do have to cut out a couple of minutes early today. So, yeah. See, Mandy also wants to do the ayahuasca experience, and again, we know how transformational it can be, and so if you feel drawn to it, then you need to find a way.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't even drawn to it when I did it. It was just very all, like, sudden. My friend knew about my injury, and he just said, like, "Oh, I think ayahuasca could help you," and I was kind of, like, anti-ayahuasca just because I meditated for so long, and then I'm just like, "Okay, well, let's just be open to this and try this," and I found the retreat. They had, like, 2 spots open, and it was my 25th birthday, and everything just aligned, and, it's gonna find you when you need it, or when you least expect it, I should say.
Yeah. Well, Carrie, I'm sorry to hear that you've had that with you for so long. I don't know if we've already chatted about this, but you can definitely set up a call and we can talk about ways you can get rid of it for good, forever. I'll send you the link to that right there. I would love to have a chat. Let's take care of it. No reason to continue for another 20 years with negative energy. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye to that.
I know I can overcome it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know that you are going to be able to? Then you will. The manifesting meow is love. I agree. I am sure that is true. Yeah. I like the icon. The icon's really cool.
I like how cartoons have like cats with like really long necks, but then they don't really have long necks in real life.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, this was amazing. A very interesting and entertaining 56 minutes. Thanks to all of our participants and my co-host, Monica.
Oh, and to my co-host, Zane. Ta-da.
All right. Well, everyone.
We wish everybody a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Yep. Thank you for listening to us and laughing with us. I'm sure some of you had laughed because I laughed.
Yes, at my expense. And I love you all unconditionally. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Hopefully we won't go for another 2 or 3 weeks without doing one of these. If we want it, it'll happen.
Yes. I know it will happen again.
Yes, it will. Okay.
I love
bye, everybody.